Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Perrine, Public Information Officer for the Indianapolis District. The Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. You can find more information about our sponsor at www.indianasfinest.com. And once again, if you're seeing us visually, it's thanks to the efforts of Tom Trial, the man behind the camera. Works hard each week to bring us to you on YouTube. So my guests today, similar uniform but different patch. From the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, we have Officer Janae Cook and Sergeant Grace Sibley, both public information officers for IMPD.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
thanks for having us.
Welcome. So this is really cool. This is the first time for us just to kind of, we don't even have any topics to talk about. Let's just talk. Let's just talk chat, public information and the great things that IMPD are doing. But let's start with kind of some background. So Janae, I know you've got more than 20 years on the department.
I do.
Give everybody just a brief idea of where you've been and how you got here.
So, I started out on the street like every other officer, enjoyed it. Then I went into investigations of child abuse for 13 years. And then I came into PIO for something different.
Yeah, and it is different.
It is different, and everybody takes everything's right up in your face.
Yeah. And Grace, what about you?
Same thing. I've been on for 12 years, and I started on the street just like Janae, and then I hopped over into investigations. I did a little bit of narcotics, a little bit of aggravated.
No, you worked narcotics, didn't do narcotics, right?
Yes.
I understand.
Yes, yeah.
I know what you're saying. Wait,
right. Thank you for clarifying. Yes. I worked robbery and aggravated assault for 4 years, and then I had kids and came back to the street and got promoted.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, so it's, what I'm always fascinated about with IMPD is your guys' career paths, because, you guys have the opportunity to bounce all over and do a little bit of everything, and each of you have. So that's really, really cool.
It's definitely a benefit.
So, but now you've landed in the world of public information. So let's talk about your day-to-day, because you guys have a team of people assigned to public information, and you fulfill a lot of requests, and you're very busy. So what does it look like every day in the public information office?
So typically we start out with just responding to media requests, but we have a special account that they contact us through. With like Janae and the other PIOs who have been there longer, they contact them directly, and so anything that's been going on over the past 24 to 48 hours, we kind of fulfill those information requests. Okay. And another part of it is that we kind of structure our internal messaging. So social media is a big thing now, as you know, and we're trying to kind of push our message and the IMPD message out there a little bit. And so, it's pretty busy.
Yeah, we do a lot of events also. We attend all the different events throughout the department. We keep up on the social media. We talk with the media constantly. I wish I could say that our day only consisted of the 8 hours that we're there, but most of the media has direct access to us with our phones. Yeah. They know our accounts, so our numbers, they call us 24/7.
And that's one thing I'm always a little jealous of, because I'm the only one for my district, and so I'm technically on call 24/7. And I know you guys have an on-call rotation, but it doesn't ever work that way. You guys still answer your phones, right? I mean, that's
for sure.
We are always answering our phones, and we actually encourage them. We let them know who's the on-call,
right?
And so they will start out with the on-call most of the time. If they know the on-call is busy, they might contact one of us, and we're always happy to help them out.
Now, I know something you guys are doing more of, just like us, is social media. So let's talk about, why is it important to interact with our citizens, our communities, through social media? Why do you think that's so important?
Well, we have our main IMPD News Facebook page. We also have a Twitter handle and Instagram. Yeah. So we just like to get out there and engage with the community and just share our message, share the stories of our officers. We try to do like a get to know your officer. We try to tell the stories of our officers and their good works. And so those are the stories that we really like to put out there and like to engage with. And I think the community likes it. They like to see that side of policing and a more approachable side.
Yeah. And somebody said to me, and it makes sense, is it's called social media for a reason. It's not just because we want to put out a message, but we want that interaction. We want that feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We do read that feedback and learn from it. And so nobody's perfect. We're all kind of learning. This social media thing's uncharted territory, but it's something that's not going away. And what I often tell police departments that don't have it is, you can either take part of the conversation and tell your own story, or you can let somebody else tell your story.
Right.
And that's exactly what it is.
Right.
We know that a lot of false things get put out on social media, and sometimes it's good for us to see those so we can form our message to compete or to battle those false. So let's talk about some community policing events, engagements, things that are happening within IMPD this summer.
So we've got a lot going on this summer. We just rolled out our summer initiatives where we're doing safe summers. Last summer it was just Saturdays only, and they were so popular that we started doing Fridays and Saturdays. And
Wow.
there's a park on the west side, there's a park on the east side, to kind of encompass everything that all sides of town, and just a way to get youth engaged is what it is. And they all kinds of activities and games, and those hours of Fridays and Saturday nights where they might find themselves in getting into trouble. So we're kind of giving them something to redirect that.
And I think you're probably finding extreme value in that youth engagement, because the relationship between the youth and the police is so important, but yet sometimes that relationship is hindered on their perception of the police, because a lot of times when they see police, it's because something bad's happening, something tragic, somebody's getting arrested, and then their view is hey, they're the bad guys, they're the ones that had to do this. And so being out there with the youth in a positive nature is unbelievably valuable to the community.
And I think that's where social media also is very beneficial. I mean, I think that it shows a different side of policing other than enforcement.
Yeah. And I'm sure you guys have the same pet peeve, but when you walk in somewhere and say, oh, if you're not good, they're going to take you away, or oh, here, take my kid, or can you scare
that is the worst pet peeve.
It is
my biggest
awful.
pet peeve in the world, because
parents, do not do that. Do not threaten your children with the police, because wouldn't you want them to come to us if they need help?
Exactly. And, we want to encourage positive response to us. Like you said, so many of these children, the first time that they see us is in a bad situation. So we need to show them not just that we're there to help them, but they're in a good way so that they can come to us when they need help, and show, we're not the bad people that they might have pictured.
Yeah. And, I always see the social media stories where the police officer stops and plays basketball or football or baseball or whatever with the kids. And I'll tell people that happens so much more often than what's caught on video and put on social media. And so those are the days that we as police officers live for, because that's our opportunity to mentor maybe somebody that's missing a mentor in their life.
And just connect with the community.
And just connect. You're right. That's a great word, to connect with the community. And we're finding that social media is a valuable tool in connecting with that community. There's allowing them to see more of a transparency, more humanizing of the badge is a popular term. And we no longer have to rely on the news media to tell our story.
Right.
So let's talk about these big events that we have going on in the city. Of course, the Indiana State Fair is coming up, which is a huge event, but there's also a lot of others. Let's talk about being safe at these events. What are some advice that you want? Let's talk about children first. Parents taking children to these events. What tips do you have to keep their children safe?
A couple things that you want to do is keep aware of where your children are. Don't just let them wander off. If even older teenage type children, if they have a cell phone, keep a cell phone on them. Be able to be in contact. Make sure you have, points of where you have to keep coming back. So like every hour, meet back up, at a common point, so that everybody knows and everybody's okay. Make sure that your kids have an adult with them, someone that they can go to and trust and know what to do in case of an emergency. If you have small kids, don't hesitate to take a picture of them that day.
Yeah, that's valuable with the phones now.
No, take a picture. That way you know exactly what they're wearing, because you and I, between the two of us, we have 6 kids. Yeah. So sometimes your days are crazy, and so when you're trying to remember what did I dress them in today,
absolutely.
It's pertinent.
Especially in a panic stress mode when you can't find them.
Very much so.
And so if you could just show us a picture, not only can we look at that picture, but we could send that picture to all the officers in the area.
Right.
And the other thing is, make sure you're talking to your children. Let them know. My kids are young. I have a 7 and a 4-year-old, and let them. I always tell them, if we're somewhere and you get lost, you just stay where you are. You don't walk. If you stay where you are, that's the first place I'm going to look, is the last place I saw you. So make sure you're having those conversations about what to do if you get lost. Write your phone number on their arm or on their hand, or
right.
There's all these tips and tricks to keep people safe.
Yes.
also have those tough conversations about strangers.
Definitely have those tough conversations.
Yeah.
Talking about who you feel comfortable with. If you don't feel comfortable with someone, go tell your mom.
Yeah.
Go. I have my kids constantly tell me, if there's something that you don't feel right about,
Yeah.
you just pull me aside.
Yeah,
you just
because
grab me.
We know that random abductions are rare, but they're possible, and
Yes.
so it's so important that your children recognize the danger.
Right.
And teaching them how to respond.
Yeah.
Make the scene.
Yeah.
You know, scream, yell, holler.
Now, what about
whatever
the
you have
older
to do.
kids? Because one of the biggest things we see at the state fair that causes us a lot of problems, and you guys as well, is 14, 15, 16, let's just drop them off at 6 o'clock. We'll be back at midnight to pick them up with no supervision.
I think that goes back to the whole, you need an adult there. You need some supervision. They don't have to walk with them 24/7,
Yeah.
but be on the premises with them.
Yeah.
Have some type of contact with them and make sure they're checking back with you. There are other 14, 15, and 16-year-olds that might be causing problems, that might interfere with your 14, 15, and 16-year-olds. So we want to keep everybody safe. And so really maintaining a contact and talking to them.
Yeah.
Tell them that if there's something that you don't want to do that you know is not right, walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's hard for a kid that's trying to fit in and trying to do the right thing. And you know, your buddies that you're with get into a fight. So you think, hey, they're my buddies. I've got to get in the fight too. And before you know it, you're in handcuffs because you were wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
Step away.
Yeah. Yeah. So what other kind of community initiatives does IMPD have going through the year?
Well, we just started a partnership with IUPUI called Harm Spot Policing. And basically, it's not hotspot policing. That's a term of the past. We're not using those terms anymore. So, harm spot policing is kind of a thing where we, through technology, identify areas in the city that need more support. And we go into those areas and we have the patrol officers. It comes right to their laptops, and we kind of give more of an encompassing like wraparound services as opposed to enforcement. We've been partnering with different offices within the city for outreaches and things that we can do to really dial in and help areas that have recently been affected by violence. So we're trying to, gone are the days where you just throw somebody in the back of a police car and you never see them again.
Yeah.
We try to provide all these wraparound services to really support the community and help them take corrective measures if that's what they need to do. And so that's part of that. We have our behavioral health unit that we're trying to that we've recently beefed up, and so we're also helping out with that. And what else?
Well, one thing that brings me to what you brought up with state fair time, it's also back to school time. So back to school is important. We're going to have school buses out again, so it's very important to watch your kids. Walk your kids to the bus stop. Make sure that they get on the buses safely. Make sure that they are aware of some of the road safeties that they should be noticing. And it's light out now. But with the time changes and everything, you're going to have dark times, and they're getting on the school bus. Some of these kids get on the school bus at 6:30 in the morning.
Yep, and we're asking folks to be patient. I mean, I tell you, I wish the winter months went by as fast as the summer months, but I can't believe we're talking back to school already. I mean,
August
it seems like
1st.
it's insane.
August 1st.
But be patient. A lot of people have a major change in routine coming at the beginning of August. Getting kids to new bus stops, different bus stops, different neighborhoods. The buses are new routes. So we're just asking, be patient. If you see the buses, if you see the kiddos, first and foremost, slow down, pay attention, put your phones down, all those things. But give them a couple weeks to get into the routine. Don't get so aggravated and angry if it's taking you a little longer.
And we understand that parents are going to be, just like you said, under a new, routine in the morning. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that new routine is also them trying to get to work. Once you once you're able to get your kids safely on the school bus,
Yeah.
take your time, watch
Yeah.
for other children.
Leave plenty early. So,
Yep.
so again, my guests have been Officer Janae Cook with the IMPD and Officer Grace Sibley, Sergeant with the Public Information Office, both public information officers for IMPD. I want to thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Very good conversation. It flew by, and we're closing in on here. So, the Indiana State Police Roadshow has been brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. Great conversations about safety, back to school. We want to remind everybody to wear their seatbelts, buckle up, drive carefully, put your phones down, limit those distractions, and everybody have a safe week. Roadshow is out.